Apologies, my friends, for anyone waiting for the stream to start after I announce it. Just managed to spill a tiny bit of tea onto my keyboard, onto the desk. I think it's the first time I've ever spilt some on it. Very fortunate. It's right next to my brand new laptop, and yeah. Now I'm like, okay, that laptop needs to not be on this desk anymore. It doesn't need to be there, and it's next to where I put my cup of tea, right? And then I'm looking around at all the other equipment. Alright, the keyboard's cheap, but the Go XLR ain't. Be maybe a bit smart to make the desk a bit more tea/splash proof or something. Anyways, cool. I'm having a bit of a daze, some days at the moment. Yeesh, some things. But we'll get to that when more people have tuned in. I mean, streaming for me today will be like a therapy session. I just need to hang out with all of y'all, take my mind off of things, relax, and just crack on with this big project that we got going on here. Ritata Moon, thank you ever so much for 3 months of support. Greatly appreciated, my friend. Kyo Sammy, thank you for 7 months. Hope you're doing well. Becca says, I spilt a whole litre of coffee on my laptop. I wasn't happy. It wasn't happy. Yeah, I mean, dang, that much is like... What are you doing with a litre of coffee? That's, in my books, that's not a normal quantity of coffee. Anyways. Yeah, I got some things I want to talk about, that's for sure. But like I said, we'll get to those in a bit. I guess right now we'll just focus on getting going. I need to make a whole bunch of hoppers and then item filters. And I keep getting confused about where I've left particular boxes. The need for color coding is getting stronger. Gonna need a lot more of those repeaters. Look at this. We can make a lot more. Clueless Llama says spoilers, question mark. Yeah, the spoilers are, you know, everywhere. I drink 2 500ml coffee a day. 1 litre is about 8. Don't you mean right? Well, E is next to R, so I'll give you that. 1 is right. Yeah, I guess so. I have mine a bit smaller, more around 400ml. But I only have 1 a day, so I guess maybe if you make them both at once and reheat it later or something. Yeah, do we have useful items? That wouldn't be a bad spot for those things to go. I've been doing some TNT duping. Making use of those fans. The barrels are just put into the other one. So redstone, repeaters, and torches. I don't like crafting up sticks when you got a witch farm, but you're on the go. Don't think I've got too many sticks lying around. It should be a rule when you visit the witch farm, like make a whole chest full of torches while you're there. And then thank yourself for doing that later. Yeah, obviously I'm going to need a lot more than that, so we'll just we'll crack on. Immy160, thank you for 27 months. Dantai Redeye, thank you for 30. And Striker537, thank you for 34 months of support. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for supporting me here, doing what I do. Right, there we go. And then we should be able to make a whole bunch of those. Excellent. Right, looking in good shape then. Stardust says, I'm not a fan of plain coffee, but coffee with creamer is good. Well, now that I'm on to drinking the proper coffee, freshly ground beans that you brew yourself, I can tell you it's in the taste, it's in the flavour, right? Like, there's something about it. Ah, oh, dang, I didn't bring any stone blocks. It's a bitter experience. Aero Gaming, thank you for the Prime, and Greegypt, again, with another gifted sub to Carby. Thank you for supporting our community, Greegypt. I like that name. I have to think about it every time I try and say it. Gib the Crafter, thank you for using the Amazon Prime. Greatly appreciated. Hope you're entertained, enjoying the stream. Hey X, not gonna watch the stream today because I want to have the VOD available for my workout tomorrow. I love the last stream and everything you talked about, and I watched while I made chest and legs today, says Tunker out. Well, for you during your workout, let me give you that reason to exercise some precaution. I've been going pretty hard this week. I kind of wanted to like shake things up a little bit and put in some hard sets, and I didn't do that crazy today, but at the end of my very last set, doing some rows, and I tweaked my back, and I wasn't even going that hard on that exercise, but of course your body's connected. It must have been deadlifts or something else that did it, and I felt it go straight away, the lower back, like not a hard kind of pull, you know, where you're like, something's torn, but just a strain, like a strong strain where you're like, yeah, that'll heal, but I'm out for a few days, right? I mean, at first I was thinking rest up for the rest of the day, but now I'm like, nope, take tomorrow off, take the weekend off, go into precaution mode. Like, training is about the long run. It's not about continuously making gains in the short term. So like when you're doing your thing, you're in a groove, it feels great, and then you tweak something, you lay off. You got to have that rest now, which is what I got to do for myself. Well, I guess we'll get into what I want to talk about. Aha, Lucaro, thank you, my dudes. Yep, for some reason that is not on, and now it should be on. It should be fixed. So, I've had a tough couple of days, and if there's something I need when my moods go down, it is working out. I feel like I just need it anyway. Like, working out is like my foundation. It's what keeps my head in a good space. You know, and you can take that any way you like. I've tried a lot of things, and it's been one of the most helpful things ever for me. You put in hard work, it makes other things that are hard feel more manageable. And obviously, you know, you get all these endorphins and hormonal responses that make you feel good after it, and that's like my foundation for dealing with everything else. And so the thought of having it taken away, even in small amounts, kind of scares me a bit. But here's the thing, I've got to go to the doctor tomorrow, and it might be for something serious. I don't know anything really at the moment until I see the doctor, and it's hard to not let it weigh on your mind. Right, I'm always trying to be glass half full kind of person. Trying to, you know, keep things in perspective. But things like injuring yourself, it annoys you. You gotta count your blessings and all that. But, you know, being a little scared going to the doctor, like, it's, and the doctor has got nothing to do with my back. This is just like a little strained my muscle doing my workout today. I'll rest, I'll recover. But it weighs on your mind. And all of that has compounded with a lot of negativity coming away, which is not for me to, I don't know, blame that negativity. It's just the timing isn't great. But my moderation video was not very well received, and I take the criticism to heart. You know, like, I can be thick-skinned, but like when you create a video, your thoughts and opinions, and like you lay all that stuff out. Oh yeah, there's another row of hoppers that go above here. When you lay all that stuff out, like it's you know, it's hard not to take people's feedback to heart, and it made me realize that I did a pretty poor job of communicating what I wanted to communicate on that video. And so that's been weighing on my mind. So it just feels like the last few days has been like, you know, one thing after the other after the other. It's why I'm not covering the snapshot video or whatever, you know, pre-release today. I just am not in the headspace to do that. I'm just kind of like, you know, want to get through the next couple of days so I know what's what. You know, I want to know what's up exactly. Will you delete the video, says Zayn. No, I won't. In fact, I might do a follow-up to it. Like, the thing with the video is that, like, people did get it. There were plenty of comments I read from people who got it, as well as people who didn't. And I feel like what I wanted to say is in there. It just wasn't communicated all too well. Like, I would read comments where someone would say, you know, they would iterate back to you, I can't believe, you know, this, that, or the other. And I thought, well, I didn't actually say that. Like, and you know, there's sort of like the way I've presented has made some assumptions. I think one of the biggest ones is that I've made the assumption that everyone's there to listen to another side of the point of view. Like, I've made that assumption that everyone's going to come into this with an open mind and they're here to have their own thoughts and opinions challenged and stuff. Like, it's not what it's actually going on. Chosen Architecture, thank you so much for the raid, my dude. Welcome all the raiders. We got Jay Sanga subscribing with the Prime. Matatat24 also with that Amazon Prime subscription. The Black Ranger PL for 73 months. Bam! Evil X right there. The Black Ranger, sorry, I literally just read it. Legend of Cena, thank you for the Prime. Bachelor, another Prime subscription. So many peeps. And if you forget, you know, you can use the Amazon Prime to subscribe to peeps on the Twitch. It doesn't automatically renew though. We got Flory Purple with the Prime. Tin Horn Dude with the Prime. And the Viking Dane for 19 months. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for the support, and thank you again, Chosen Architecture, for the raid. I'm having a bit of a, like, I had a bit of a tough time, and like this stream is for me to have a bit of therapy and just hang out with peeps and whatnot. Could you maybe explain what you meant in the video for those people who didn't understand, says John Pipe Johnson. Essentially what I wanted to do was look at how the community reacts, which is that loud vocal kind of angry response in general, and sort of show another side to that coin, right? Like, and I think it just kind of comes off as a bit condescending and maybe weak, whereas oh, this one over here doesn't need to be there. Whereas, you know, I was trying to explore and offer up some different perspectives, and you know, I'll take the blame on this one because it's a learning curve for me doing these scripted content type videos. You know, I kind of feel like I hit it out the park with the first one because I got such good feedback on it, and maybe I was a little lazy or just too swift to write, you know, too excited with the second one. I maybe should have put more time and effort and care into it. So it's definitely an interesting learning curve. I'm not going to take the video down because I essentially, for the most part, stand by what I said. It's more, I think, how it came across that maybe I could reiterate upon. For example, like I get some comments saying, "Oh, I can't believe you think it's okay that private servers can be moderated," and that's not something I explicitly said. And I guess, you know, I didn't take much time to point out where my own ideas stand and sort of give like both sides of a discussion at once. I was mainly focusing on the counter to a lot of that like vitriolic response, which by the way I feel is like rather unfairly fueled by these horror stories of like, oh, you know, you can get banned for putting this word on a sign or whatever. That, you know, like, these things are obviously bugs and things that Microsoft and Mojang don't want. Like, what game company wants their player experience to be, oh, you wrote a random word on a sign, now you can't play multiplayer ever again? Like, is that good for their business model? Is that what they want for their community? Obviously not. And it feels like the way these things get discussed is we find a little thread of something and then we push it to the extreme to support our narrative. So for those having this this kind of response of I don't like this, which is, to be fair, I'm not particularly that keen on all of this either, but I kind of like to look at it from both sides, you know. And do Microsoft want that? Obviously not. So things like technical issues are being blown out of proportion. Anyway, I had this thought today, you know, because I've been mulling over this stuff a bit. You know, because it's like this force comes along of like moderation is now here for the whole platform, and then people are saying, "Nah, this is wrong. There shouldn't be moderation and stuff." But moderation itself is kind of like a natural emerging thing that happens within communities anyway. Okay, so again, like this is what I would like try and inject ideas like this into my video. But I didn't clarify. I'm not saying this means it's all okay. It's just like, this is a really difficult subject, and I think talking about it by making a big fuss and not like accurately describing and going through the pros, the cons, the things that we can be upset about properly, it's not healthy for anyone. It's not productive in any direction. So, you know, when you have private communities, those too have moderation. Moderation naturally emerges, hierarchies of admins and mods on servers. I remember playing on a server back in the day, before I was known for anything here on YouTube, and there were some power-hungry admins on there who were just, you know, at the time I was young, so I didn't see it this way. I kind of knew it was wrong, but I didn't know how to express it. And it was kind of like, you know, these people felt a sense of status by being admins, and they would abuse that power. They would create friendship circles and take sides when there was a dispute, as opposed to try and get to the bottom of what happened and whatnot. It's like these things naturally emerge, and there's power abuse there that naturally emerges. So we get, because there's this new spectacle of like universal moderation, we don't like look at the full picture, I feel like, and realize that there's, you know, we talk about these horror stories of Mojang moderation, but then I know of plenty of stories where you've got power-hungry admins and moderators not getting it right. Like the whole thing, it just feels like it's this big goopy grey, and yet people want to kind of like compartmentalize and make it easy to understand. That just says, first thing I learned about moderation for various communities is that you need to remain impartial and proper guidelines to work to. Yeah, that sounds pretty like a pretty good starting point. But that in itself is a hard thing to maintain too, because people have different ideas of what's wrong and right, and so these viewpoints that I'm expressing, they're me listening to what everyone's saying. It's like, when you do that, you can see how this whole thing never pleases everyone. It's so different from doing regular Minecraft commentary, you know, where, you know, I'm not keen on your contraption, I would have built it a different way, you know, it's not a big deal. But then this moderation thing really just elevates people's feelings, emotions, and so I'd gone into this video not really, like, I sort of half anticipated it, but like not really. I hadn't fully thought about everything I need to say needs to fully consider all of this stuff. Yeah, Chosen Architecture, thank you, my dude, for using the Prime on me. Appreciate it, man. Thank you again for the raid. SSM is here, subscribing, and we've got Anna Bomb Banana here for 26 months. Thank you so much. I like people being able to report Minecraft servers if that is the issue, but these rules to be implemented regardless of the Minecraft audience. Okay, that one went off the rest of the screen. I mean, yeah. Now we're getting lots of long messages. Anyway, all of this stuff has like been really weighing on me, along with the health issues, and that's why I'm not covering the pre-release today, and that's why I'm just here to hang out with all of y'all, get it off my chest, have fun like we do on a stream, because it's been like just mentally exhausting. And maybe we'll come back around to the topic again a little bit later, but right now it's like everyone's posting paragraphs in chat, and it's hard to read them when they move so quick. We got Large Funny Banks here with cheers and bits saying hello from Seattle. I, like many, found your video to be reasonable and open-minded. Maybe in one short video it's not possible to explain every detail. In a way all young and passionate people can process. Could be just the start of a naturally tough discussion. Feel better and well done. Thank you, my dude. I have had some great support in the comments too from people that understood that. That was my failing, not to get across the open-mindedness. Like I wasn't trying to really put a hard foot down anywhere. And if you, another thing is like retention. I looked at retention. It was clear people were commenting before getting to the end, and my sort of concluding point was like, you know, they've chosen to do this, and they're creating a situation where no one can win. That was sort of my closing point on that video. Which, isn't that like one thing we could all agree on? They've made this move, and it's an unwinnable situation. But thank you. Autism Father reached out to me on Twitter, which I appreciated. He's a great guy doing great things with his Minecraft server. Happy to support them whenever I can. And he highlighted something to me that I sort of implicitly knew, but had yet to like go over in my own mind, which was the horror stories that happen in communities. Like, at some point I kind of briefly touched on how we talk about these like grey middle ground issues where we can't all, you know, something really bad happens, right? And it's clearly outrageous and wrong, but we act like that's the only thing that's happening in this space, and we don't think about all the abuses and mishandlings that can occur in these communities. And it got me thinking back to some of the horror stories I've heard around my own community and other communities too, of like grooming and other things. I mean, I don't talk about these things when they happen. In my community there have been some shocking things happen, where you step in, you get involved, and it's like, this person is not allowed to be in our community because of these actions. Those stories don't make for those great videos, like these videos that everyone's paying attention to, of like, oh look, there's a new Minecraft snapshot and I've been able to exploit and show you how terrible the moderation is because of this feature. And so we get hyper-focused on this ridiculous stuff that's like, well, obviously it's going to get fixed. It's like a technical problem. And not thinking so much about those other types of horror stories that happen out there that kind of need to be addressed and stuff. Vanis P says, awful people might stop harassing you by a chat, but it won't stop them from using signs, PvP griefing and trapping. Will Mojang really check our coord logs? I don't think so. Sure, yeah. I mean, maybe it's the way I read a message like that I feel like it's a full stop and a counterpoint to like, and therefore get rid of this. Maybe that's not what you're saying, because I totally agree. Like, but that's what's so difficult about moderation is investing time into it. I mean, they could have taken a very different approach to doing all of this. Like, in our community, we have tools to deal with the situations that we've encountered over time. So if you run a community for long enough, you encounter many situations and you build up the knowledge and the tool set on how to deal with those things and run your community. And another strategy Mojang and Microsoft could have taken was like outreach. They could have created an outreach program to all the small server communities and help them with resources to do this and that. X, we also want to know if you can ask Apple to release a new episode for all mankind on a different day. I don't know what Joe's up to. That reminds me of that book, Only You Can Save Mankind. Yeah, anyway. Where were we? Tyrannus6, thank you for the Prime. Zulu S12, thank you for Thank you for 8 months of support. Hello, talking controversy topic. Can I ask whether you going to add subtitles to the stream for deaf people like me? If you think about the logistics of that, it's pretty much a no-go. This is live commentary. But if you get the VODs over on my second channel on YouTube, they will have automatic captioned subtitles that are really good quality, actually. They're really good quality. I remember when they were quirky, but good. But, you know, they've come a long, long way. Bear says, could this be the biggest derp he's done in a while? What have I done? Am I building this the wrong way? I mean, when you're building a project like this, there's always that thing in the back of your mind of like, what if I've made a mistake and I need to rebuild it? But I don't know. Bear says, oh, he reads that and not the other stuff. Yeah, well, I can't read every message in chat. Have you noticed that I am building in Minecraft at the same time? That's why I do say, though, if you are going to, like, comment on something in the chat, try and give me the context. Like, sometimes I read a message and it's like, oh, he hasn't done that, and it's like, what's the that? What is the that? You wrote your message when I was doing something a minute ago. Right, let's do this and that. Just Thesis. Thank you ever so much for the Prime. Banana Bomb Banana, thank you for gifting a sub to Banana Times. Appreciate you doing that. Any examples of disputes, issues from the Hermitcraft server that you think was moderated, resolved well? Well, I'm not going to discuss our internal workings, but, like, you know, when we have had disagreements and what, we work together to figure them out, right? That can be harder to achieve, that sort of self-autonomy, I guess, in any kind of community. Every community is different and has different needs. That's what I was mentioning, like the idea of like an outreach program a minute ago. Badger Spanners here with some cheers and bits saying, hey Xisuma, aren't you meant to be in a Hermitcraft meeting right now? I don't think so. We switched to doing them every other week at the moment. What did Joe say in chat again? Oh, he replied, yeah, discussions of internal workings are for the Thursday meetings that are every other Thursday, right? X, mind if we update to 1.19 during a stream right now? I don't know. I'm the only one who can do all of that. Anyway, I guess I'll oh, I see my mods are saying the same stuff here. Let me just reply to them. Right, and then put all that back. Mace School says, are you sure about that, X? Yeah, I know you can, Mace. I just meant, you know, I'm the one that takes care of that within our group. And, I mean, it's all here ready to go. I've tested all the 1.19 stuff and whatnot. Right, I guess I got to build the filter over here. I like how X was happy when Ren became king. Yeah, Ren becoming king's an awesome thing. You know, we need, like, leadership is good, and now we've got some sort of, like, in-game direction to do things together. I mean, I don't know if I'm going into a bit of spoilers territory here, but Ren's put together some some cool, like, community challenges, let's say, for us to do that are going to just make Hermitcraft better and better, which is, you know, a good thing. Lucro says, well, guess there's no meeting today, at least not for X. I haven't been to as many meetings of late anyway. I've been busy with some other stuff. So, yeah, I'm not the heart and soul of a meeting or anything. Right, why did I run round here again? I think it was scaffolding that I wanted. When did you start playing Minecraft? Gosh. March? 11 years ago? 11 years. Dog Breath says, aren't the minutes of the meeting written up for people who can't attend? Yep, that's correct. I always read them. Oh, right. Wait, what am I doing here? So I wanna build this at the same height, but probably from over here. X, do you ever worry that Minecraft will die? Says Lil Jag T. No, I don't think Minecraft will die because Tetris hasn't died. I mean, it's just the use of language always gets me. Like, no, it won't. Like, it doesn't. Things don't like die like that, right? Like, its popularity will end, but, you know, you don't know what that looks like in the future either. It might be that everyone plays blocky games one day, but it's just not Minecraft anymore. Oh, right, God, it all needs to be one block lower than that. Let's get this over here. Minecraft continues to evolve, so long as it doesn't evolve in a way that makes it less fun to play. It will probably be around for a long time still. Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, here's the thing about, like, it air quotes dying, which is, like, not a term I really like using. Because, like, ultimately, it doesn't die, it just changes, its popularity changes. But I tell you what, back in Season 3, like, it kind of felt like maybe Minecraft's thing was over. Like, a lot of people were playing different games. Ark came along. There was a long period without an update, and it just kind of felt like, yeah, this whole Minecraft thing might not go on forever. And I remember, if you go back and look at my channel around then, I was doing daily videos with like lots of other games at the time. Don't forget, Minecraft went through a dip in popularity not that long ago. Well, I'm talking about, what, 2013, 14? Then it had a resurgence, then that kind of started to trail off a bit, then you had PewDiePie pick the game up, and then after that, like, the pandemic seemed to bring a lot of people. Wasn't Season 5 the low point of popularity, says Lucas? You see, I think that's, like, probably not the way I would look at it. I would describe it as seasons, like, the popularity of Season 1 was the least popular. Season 2 was more popular. Season 3 again. Season 4, like, everything was growth. Season 5 was surprisingly popular, more growth, but then, like, it sort of stagnated a little bit and had its troubles with the way we chose to play the season. So it kind of became a little bit of a less favourable season. For me, though, I look back at it and think this is probably like the best Hermitcraft base I've built. Maybe maybe some things since, like in Season 6 and 7 with the storage, Ocean Monument Farm, and then Season 7 with the brewery project. Like, those are some highlights for me. But that best base would probably be Season 5. So there's many different ways you can measure, like, what goes into a season or whatever. Season 6 and 7 were just absolute booms. And then 8 and 9 have kind of like settled, sort of settled with that audience that we've grown, you know. But hey, look, you know, not everything goes up forever, right? You know, and that's fine. I've enjoyed all of it. It's been a great ride, and it won't last forever, but that's fine. It's just the way of things. Is there a base you built? A base or build you lost but you wish you get back? I tend to back up all my data, so I've never really had issues of losing stuff in that way. You started watching Hermitcraft just before the hippies moved in Season 6. Season 6 had like a second wind to it, which is what Season 2 had as well. This whole going out and exploring a new area type thing. I mean, I'm hoping this season will be a long one, so maybe like 1.20, whatever that is, will be part of perhaps like a second wind for the season. As long as people are playing on Twitch, YouTube will keep older games alive. COD, WoW, Ark, Speedrun, Mario, Breath of the Wild, Pokemon, says Tilly the Hun. Yeah, there's always communities for old games. I mentioned Tetris specifically because I found a Tetris speedrunning video this morning. Just my telly recommended it while I was doing some stretches, and I was like, alright then. And it was pretty darn fascinating. They created AIs to play the game, and now, rather than people playing it for high scores, they're making AIs that play it. It's fascinating stuff. I've taken my noises in the air off the screen accidentally there. Golden TNT MSD14, thank you for 66 months. 66 is palindrome. Is it palindrome? Isn't that like where you have a word and you flip it and then it's the same back to front, whereas 66 is just two numbers? Maybe I'm missing something there. Lil Jaggerty says, what are your thoughts on Minecraft's trajectory? Do you like what the recent updates have done to the game, or did you like it more when it felt like a blank template? I've always felt like it's the kind of game where you can just keep adding blocks to it and it keeps it interesting, because you always like what you do in Minecraft, and then new updates kind of like sort of reinvent the wheel a little bit and just give you new stuff to do, and that's great. I wish Mojang had a bit more guts though to tackle the inventory problem. It feels like they're shying away from that. That's one thing I would like to see, you know, really embraced. Give a real good shot at taking this game to another level by changing the inventory system, right? It's a bit old and outdated in my opinion. What do you want 1.20 to be? An inventory update, that's for sure. Actually, let's not do that. Let's get up top and do all of that while the design's in my mind. Palindrome can be used for numbers that can be read both ways too. Ah, okay, got ya. And Lord Renaissance, thank you for using the Amazon Prime on me. Appreciate that, my dude. Hope you're enjoying the stream. So it's here. Yeah, that we put that block. Some form of quality of life update would be amazing, says Real on Apple. Feels like every update has a little bit of that in, right? A little bit, just small tweaks here and there. Giant Mushroom, I hear complaints about the inventory a lot, but what are the concrete suggestions to improve the experience? I feel like, you know, you don't have to do a lot to improve the experience. Like, you just need to identify the problems, and it's things like items stacking to 64, having hundreds and hundreds of items in the game but only this small space. Like, when this stuff was designed, the game was very different, and it needs to reflect on how people play it now and what they want to do. Builders are creating extravagant builds, like beautiful builds full of detail, and that detail comes at a price of time. Your creativity is blocked by the time it takes to manage your inventory and your items. So, like, my mind is like, find simple ways to reduce that friction and don't hold on to nostalgic ideas that, you know, 64 items as a stack is how it has to be. If we could let go of ideas like that, then we can improve the game so much. And I really don't think there's like a great argument for it if you're trying to be logical. If you want to be emotional about it, then yeah, like we're all going to be attached to the number 64. It's iconic. It's Minecraft to the core or whatever, right? But like that could have been any old number. And logically, if you make the stack sizes bigger, people can build without having to manage as much space. If you want to build on a large scale, it takes up more of your inventory. And what players are doing these days is they're building with a lot of detail. They're using shades. There's all sorts of different shapely blocks that you can attach to builds to make them look more interesting and detailed. The game has evolved. If you go back and look at screenshots of builds from like 2011, they are like just utterly ugly, basically, compared to what we have now. But people saw the potential then. The potential was there. And we've been given all these tools to improve how beautiful we can make our builds look, how interesting we can make them look. But what we haven't been given is the time, right? And the time is how you manage those items. So you spend a lot of time going in and out of chests. How many times have I walked over to the middle there, right? I know it's part of the game, it's part of the charm, but in my mind, when I pressed E, if I had access to 1,000 times more things than you see right here in one go, easy to access, this project would have been finished so much longer ago, and I could be now way further along in the game. I would have more time to build, make things look beautiful. You know, it's like, it's an endless game, remember, when it comes to creativity. There's always interesting stuff to do. And you don't have to, sorry, you know, you're limited by how long it takes. I really feel like they need to reduce the friction of all that. I still don't think adding more slots or increasing stack size is the answer. You're not improving the game, in my opinion. You're looking from a survival-only POV. It will hurt other game modes and maps. Tuxaban, I disagree, because when you say maps, we have control over that stuff. If done right, it can, you know, you can create a system that has the flexibility for map creators to control things like stack sizes, right? Like, when you make the changes, you make them work for everything. And this idea that increasing the inventory size and stack size doesn't help, I think it's a misunderstanding. Like, yes, you can't continuously increase as they add items, but it would obviously make a big difference to have double what you've got here. You know, people said there was no room for it, right? Can't do that. But then there's room for this big old recipe book over here. This could all be inventory space. And then, you know, why can't the hotbar be more than 9 slots, right? More blocks than there at one time. It helps a little. Anyway, I don't know how to make these arguments clearer. That's one thing I've noticed. I do see the kickback in these discussions of people who disagree. Because you only have 1 to 9 on your keyboard, says Avalon. Yeah, so like, what is the harm in having extra slots down here that don't interact with 1 to 9, right? Like, you know, if you keep giving yourself the reasons not to, you won't see the reasons to do it, I think is important. Okay, I needed to make more quartz comparator things, didn't I? So, I need to go find that. Dang it, I swear I had a box full of... I probably took it back to my base and emptied it or something annoying. Where is... Hang on, let's just one more check. I'm sure I had a whole bunch of quartz at one point in time. And I'm sure it was right here. So that's my nether chest, so that one doesn't. Dang it. I might have left something up here. Satisfactory had a similar problem. They have scrollable hotbars. That's great. Yeah, being able to scroll for each of these, just a very simple way to you know, get on top of that. I think one of the big issues though why we don't see these changes is because of the major, like it's not just Java, right? Like it's for controllers, it's for touchscreen, it's like for all sorts. Yeah, there you go. Ooh. Oh wait, what was that arrow? I mean, I know piglins are in the area. An arrow wouldn't have come through. What on earth was that arrow? Anyway, let's go down here. Artemis says you could have 12 if you use the function keys as well. Yeah, but those are used for other things, right? And as I was saying, you got to make it work on multiple platforms. It's just, I'm pretty sure that's the reason why we haven't seen these changes. Right, I think that block was there, right? What is in this chest anyway? Ah! Oh. No quartz, eh? No quartz. Now, I don't need a crazy amount. Maybe I could fly around and grab some. Don't have a lot of food, though. If I get in a hairy situation, I need to be well fed. And, you know what? I imagine much of the quartz around here has probably been pinched. There's a little bit there. Do I see some over? Yeah, you know what? We can. Then there's the old piglins, isn't there? Yeah, probably got some back at my base somewhere. We'll head back there. I remember a recent talk from yesterday's stream. I think I'd really enjoy some redstone basics from you. However you may package them. Always come across back for informative stuff. Well, I'm going to do another live stream on the redstone stuff. Probably the next one I'll do, which might be Saturday. Yeah, it'll probably be Saturday, my next stream. Pending that visit to the doctor, so if I don't stream, there's probably a reason. But anyway, okay, what am I doing now? I'm really struggling to focus, so I just need to get some food and then fly over there. It'll probably be a redstone one, right? So we can break into some concepts on that one. Oh, here we go. I'll do for now. Right, and then off we go. With me rocket. I think backpacks are the best option here. The way you have to gather the resources to make it so it can be like... I mean, I won't read the rest of that. I'd never understand the backpack suggestion because we already have backpacks. They're called shulker boxes. And, like, this idea of integrating some form of backpack into the inventory, it's so adjacent to what the shulker box is. You know, you place it down and pick out those items. It doesn't feel like it actually... This is new. It doesn't offer much in the way of reducing that friction. This is very new. Oh, okay, I won't spoil that. Soup Group have built some sort of cool, interesting looking tunnel, I guess. Backpack means something entirely different, non-shulker, says King Homer. I mean, maybe I'm thinking about it wrong in terms of what the suggestion is, but it honestly just sounds like a shulker box. Like, you have this item that you can put items in that resembles a backpack, right? So you can move it around, but it holds the items. It just sounds like a shulker box. I mean, if the advantage is that you don't have to place down a shulker box to get the items out, it's like it's such a small difference in friction that it just kind of feels like it's not going to address the issue. the issue for me is to just like radically rethink how many limitations are. There's limitations on the hotbar size, the inventory size, the stack size. There can be things added that allow you to... Ah, there you go. I had a feeling I might have put it somewhere like that. I'm probably going to need to come back here again. Can I preemptively think of iron? Yeah, I might need some more iron for all the hoppers we've got to make, right? What about wood? I don't think there'll be a lot of it here, but I'll take that. And then I'm going to make a stack of torches. Oh, also I'm running low on redstone. Look at this. My brain is ticking over. It's doing things. It's such a new feeling to me. Yes, I will take those, thanks. And then do we have what we need to make the things over there? Probably not. Right, let's move on to a new topic, because we have talked about this one so many times, and honestly, like, I don't think I'm going to offer any of you new thoughts on this, really. By the way, I'm thinking of moving the nether portal down from this spot here. Like, it's cool to have it at the eyes, but I don't know what to put in this space, and I don't really feel like there's much advantage to me flying up and down all the time. Quick question, when reading chat, how do you even comprehend the amount of words on the screen? Well, I just pick out a message like yours, you know, focus on the one and read that. I've also got messages on my other screen too. Automated captions for live Twitch exist as well, making Twitch more accessible for deaf people. Hey, that's cool. Got automated captions over here too. Right, and off we go. Bean Choir Boy, thank you for 63 months. Here we go again with those big numbers. Yeah, really appreciate it, my dude. Crazy long time. Thank you for sticking around. Trick Legs TV, using the Amazon Prime. Thank you for using that on me, my dude. Hope you're enjoying the stream. About the chat moderation thing, from a technical perspective, I don't think it would be hard for servers to make a mod that effectively disables chat reporting system from working by removing the message signing thing. It probably won't be, you know. I imagine their strategy, though, is to not really get caught up on ideas like that. Because it'll probably be like a smaller amount, or it could end up getting really popular. You never know. I mean, the response has been so strong against it that who knows? You might find out that servers everywhere end up just like rejecting it outright, especially if there's like an easy mod that you can install. There is already a mod for the chat to do that. Crazy. There you go. Are the custom textures in the world download? Yes, from Season 7... No. Season 8 onwards, any custom textures and stuff you see on Hermitcraft is also included in the world download. That was something I was so pleased about when we learned how to do all this stuff, that we could make it a part of the world download. Like, I've been pushing for stuff like that for a long time, but it was always like, you know, we'd have to use mods and so it was kind of like a no-go. But eventually, like, the resource pack stuff caught up a bit, and it was like, hey, look, we can, you know, we can make this a part of a vanilla download now, and it allowed us to do that. All right, yes, I'm being shared a link from my mods. There is indeed a mod to do as we just talked about. I'm out of the loop. Why is Xisuma eating bone meal? Does he have a calcium deficiency? I'm eating bone meal because it's scrumptious. God. It's the best food in the game, right? Don't tell me otherwise. Right, this should be enough to finish off this row up here. Sloffy says, hey X, about the 1.19.1 moderation, could they add a kid option that blocks messages that are rude, harassment, the other rules you can't turn it off and on? There are many different ways that they could approach it, right? But ultimately it's a topic that just everyone gets divided and has different opinions about. I mean, like, opting in to be protected doesn't sound like a bad idea when you make it a choice for someone, but these things are always going to be very difficult to implement and make work and stuff. Here's another point, by the way. In my video, I sort of said, like, I was trying to make this point of, you know, we haven't seen this moderation in action yet because it's not even implemented, and you know, what happens if it turns out Mojang have put together a crack team of moderators and, you know, it's really good, right? They get it right so many times. They can also put together a team that gets it wrong a lot, right? But you know, I didn't really know too much about how moderation works, and I did read a couple of comments from people saying that moderation is a very low-paying job that people don't care about. And I found that interesting. I was like, I can see that, but is it true? And how would you prove it if so? But, like, I have a moderation team here, and they do moderation for the community that they love. And it can be a passion for some people to help foster a community in that way. And I've seen, like, people come and go, and we've got, like, a wonderful group of people that I think have great intentions of how they moderate in our community, but that's not like, you know, turning up 9 to 5 to do a job, right? And it's interesting how I can naturally think of moderation being really good in a community and being a really good tool because of the way I've experienced it around my own community. I haven't experienced it in a corporate way, and so some people have a very different view of how that moderation then takes place, right? If it's corporate, if people were doing it who are unenthusiastic about their job and whatnot, it's rather interesting. Radar the Wolf says, I feel bad for X regarding his video talking about you don't deserve the hate for the video. Yeah, you know, like, I got a few strong comments here and there, but ultimately I feel like I didn't do a good enough job, really. It was quite evident when you read comments and you kind of realize how misunderstood or whatever. Like, I kind of see it like, I'm not going to moan about the reaction because I feel like I didn't do a good enough job to get it right on my end. If I'd have gone out there and made a pristine, well-articulated video and whatnot, then maybe I'd feel a little hard done by. But really, it was a learning curve because it's like a new type of video, and after doing one and that going really well, I think I kind of just sort of thought, oh, this is easy, and just like, let's talk about this next topic, and then totally misunderstood like the tone of how to talk about it and whatnot. So I see it more as like just a learning curve now. And I was thinking about doing a follow-up video to it, but with these things you tend to need to be on the nose. Like, you need to be timely with stuff, and my video was a little untimely because the update got delayed and other things had happened between when I actually writ that, which was a couple of weeks. Actually, maybe not a couple of weeks. I actually don't know when I started writing it. I didn't make note. Time moves so fast that sometimes there are just things that feel like it's been weeks, and it's like, oh, it's only a couple of days. And there are things that it's like, oh, that was yesterday. It's like, no, it was 2 weeks ago. Like it works in both directions when time moves fast. And I can't remember when I started writing it, but some time had elapsed and more things had happened between me writing that video and it coming out, and those things could have been addressed. So you need to be timely, and I'm not sure I'm going to have the time over the next few days. I don't know like what's going to happen, so I might have time to like write something and edit and whatnot. I'll have to weigh up all those factors, I guess. As you get older, it seems to go faster more often than not, says Shri. Yeah, it's the relativity, right? Like, as you live more, a length of day is smaller compared to the overall amount of time you live. That's why time goes by so slow when you're a kid, and kids are impatient. You know, like a year, like to a 5-year-old kid, a year is 1/5 of their life. When you're 20, it's 1/20th. And so that's the way I think you can take in that perspective and see how time tends to speed up. It'd be interesting to calculate if you just sort of took that at like a bit of face value, because obviously it's quite a whimsical, emotional perspective. But like if you took it just at face value and like calculated it mathematically, it'd be interesting to see like if you put the context of like the value of a year into how many years you've lived, and you gave that weight, and then you tracked it across, like, let's say you live for 80 years. It'd be interesting to see where the middle is, right? I think the middle would probably be like early 20s, perhaps. That'd just be a rough guess. If I understood it right, the streamer has to put subtitles on the screen and it will be visible for everyone. I'm happy to do that if they're not too big and intrusive. If they can be a decent size, I'd enable that. I actually like watching videos with subtitles on. I feel like I focus and concentrate a little bit more, and I never have to skip back and wonder what was just said if I didn't like understand, if someone was a bit mumbly or the audio wasn't quite clear. It also turns out that this generation, the young generation of people out there, you know, in today's world, are actually using subtitles like more than older generations. And I think that's just because they're available on places like YouTube, and it's just more, especially there's a lot of subtitling in those like Mr. Beast type videos as well, right? All those fast action, highly edited, jumping around, words are on the screen. It's just becoming like a bit of a norm, I think. Anyway, I will need to look into that and possibly do that. Okay, noises in the ear. Ex-introvert is here for 2 months. Praise and Default is here with the Prime. Oh, God, I've butchered that one. There's no way I was saying that one correctly. Thank you for using the Prime on me, my dude. Panadashia is here with a donation saying, "Hi, Xisuma, you're the first person I ever send money to on the internet. Love your videos and streams." Thank you so much. I'm honoured to be the first. Appreciate it, my dude. I'm glad you enjoy what we do and hope you continue to. Thank you again. Let's go put these things in. And then, I don't know, some of these are just junk to be sorted at this point, which is what I can do in my new sorting system. So we need to go gather some more woods. Luckily, I've got a whole bunch that needs chopping down. And then we need to make like 4 by 5, like 20. So I think I need 40 logs, if I'm not... Hang on, that might be something I can just take care of before I leave this area, right? Like, there might be enough to... No, it's 40 chests. Yeah, I can actually do that right now. Okay. I think I'll take that. Wait, it's here, isn't it? It's like... Didn't I just pick up a load of iron? Where is it? It's like... Yeah, there you go. It's on my hotbar. You, Wally. And there's more... Oh, there's even more in that one. That's all that one's got. Right, that should take care of all this. Did you see Doc M's arrow cannon broke his armor durability and killed him? I did not see that, but that sounds like a Doc thing, right? Some inventive way to kill himself. Breaking the game in the process. There you go. Oh, well, look at me. I made way too many of those hoppers. But that's actually, like, the whole thing. Right? Dang. Dang, 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 dang. So somewhere in here I got a redstone chest. Oh, that I already had the hoppers. I already had the hoppers. Jeez, what a goose. What a goose. Okay, well, we'll go do some storage and some tree farming. Dark Commands, thank you ever so much for 38 months of support, my dude. Appreciate it. Appreciate it ever so much. Also got 1,600 peeps tuning in. Thank you for coming by today. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Be sure to hit the follow button over here on Twitch. Probably going to stream it again Saturday if everything's alright. We'll do a redstone stream on that day, I reckon. And that X is why math is important. 4 times 5 is not 40. I didn't say 40, did I? I thought it said 20. Whatever. Who knows, who knows. Before chat goes into meltdown, apparently you missed a hopper. Oh no! I missed a hopper. Blow up the whole contraption. There's no way I'll possibly see that later on and fix it. God. The only answer to how many hoppers do you need is more. That seems adequate for that project. Woo! Goodbye, my frames. Goodbye, my frames. I just hear a ghast. Shouldn't hear a ghast in this area. Does the skull on your pick have a name? On my pick? Oh, do you mean my pickaxe? Don't think that it does. Ah! Okay. So I can put some stuff away manually, but that would kind of be boring, right? So yeah, I can just chuck that in. Now that one I actually want to probably keep to one side. I don't need the stone. I just need the black concrete for doing that room over there. See that there's a big old batch of junk, but I'd like to take out the stone first. That's all. Name it Plonker. Who are you calling a Plonker? And I think I'll craft up the iron and put that into our ender chest system. So like these things are just kind of like a bit of bulk storage at this point. I'm not actually sure they're mine. Hang on, these might be Corralis's. I'm going to leave these over to one side because I got a bit muddled up taking apart his shulker boxes now I think about it. Right, and then you see the bones are kind of like something I want to just keep for that project. So if these are materials I want to have on hand, I'm going to chuck them in there. Have you thought about using an item scroller? I don't know what an item scroller is. Okay, so these things we're going to put in here to be sorted away. That's how we roll. Valuables needs more iron. And then which of these have junk that don't really need to... Yeah, that one can get sorted. And I'll keep that. Yeah, so those two. And that's it. So I chuck those in there, and then later on when I turn the system off... I mean, I could leave it running now, but we might end up leaving the area, so... Won't be doing that. That's not smart, is it? Let's go get some wood back after we just tore through a stupid amount of it. Jack Gubbins says, question about chat moderation. If permanent bans mean a player is forced to quit or buy a new copy of the game, does this not only stop those financially unable? It's not a rule for all, it's just the poor, says Jack Gubbins. Sure, yeah. You can totally look at it that way. That's the, you know, that's kind of like that's kind of the sort of thoughts that I hope my video would provoke, you know, learning to look at things like that and seeing how tricky all of this stuff is, right? Like, moderation is inherently just an unequal game. It goes straight into the the space, you know, that's difficult. I mean, like, some of the backlash I had aimed at me was like stuff where it's like, yeah, I don't disagree and I don't think it's right, but like, don't make this about me. But, you know, if my account were to be banned, I obviously would have contact with Mojang and be able to get it sorted out. I mean, that's not fair, is it? But that's just life. Like, there is unequal access to things in life. So are you a bone mage or a lich? Because you haven't killed anyone, right? Says you girls that you know of. You know, that you know of. What mod are you using for seeing what's in the shulker boxes before you open them? I think it's called Shulker Box Viewer. Don't you think your axe is a bit big? I actually kind of like it. Maybe it's a bit big on the screen, but like the proportion to the player, I think is awesome. Like this thing looks amazing. This is such soothing music. Yeah, it is. It looks metal as heck, says the beard. Yeah, I like it metal. I haven't been listening to a lot of metal lately. I listened to a little bit today. I've just sort of noticed that I'm like not feeling it as much anymore. Keep getting drawn to more like upbeat pop music kind of stuff. I'm changing. I'm getting old, you know. I have actually been listening to metal records, but like just not getting enthused about it. I tend to listen to more metal in the winter, says Dio. I probably naturally do the same thing, you know. Any Lorna Shore by chance, says King Homer? No, I'm really not keen on that band. Like, I want someone in metal to come along and do something really different and innovative, and it feels like for the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, it's just this recycling of ideas. And Lorna Shore, like, no disrespect to them, if I was still really into it, I'd be really, you know, excited by the music, but it is just, like, so many things I've already heard. It's like the deathcore scene, sort of, that continual race to the bottom to, like, just be a bit more ugly and brutal than the next. They've got, like, the symphonic thing, sort of, when Dimmu Borgir went orchestral, that sound seems to have, like, broken into like a lot of different bands, and there's a few other things in there as well, but I hear it, you know, like my friends all love metal and they share metal music, and every time I hear like a song, it's just like, this just feels like everything I've already heard just sort of remixed and put back together a bit again. So it's hard for me to get excited by modern metal bands. Like Meshuggah are the last big band to do anything, it feels like, that really changed much. And I love a lot of you know, bands like Ghost and Puppy that do this sort of like metal adjacent nostalgia stuff is really cool. Isn't that old music though recycled, says Buy Me Waffles? Absolutely, everything is a remix. The difference is though that you want someone to like break ground, like you want that remix to go somewhere new. Like, because we can remix the same ideas over and over again, and it will, you know, it won't be as fresh. Whereas every now and then, those remixing of ideas, sometimes they just give us something new and fantastic. And yeah, I'm saying new loosely there, but you know what I mean. Like, if you go back through time and compare like 70s to 80s music and then 80s to 90s, you can just hear so much stuff changing. But you can hear the through lines, you can hear the influences and how this thing inspired that thing, right? And so with something like Lorna Shore, I hear it all too vividly. Like, there isn't something, it doesn't feel like something's emerging from the cracks. Like, okay, I can see you've taken this and that and wedged them together, but now there's something new there. I don't hear that, and that might be just on me. It just might be like I've got a lack of enthusiasm or something, but That's what I look for, you know. I'm gonna go listen to some new metal music. I kind of wanna hear something a little bit different than I've heard before. ABBA metal. Now that's exciting, says Exoskeleton. I don't. For some reason, something about ABBA's music is somehow traumatic to me. Maybe I just heard too much of it at a bad time. I find a lot of popular modern metal to be really boring. I can only listen to progressive metal now, or stuff outside the genre, really, says Nick Adity. Yeah, I kind of fall into a similar camp, maybe. It hasn't been exciting me as much. And even the proggy metal stuff feels just a bit, I don't know, like Periphery kind of came in and really like brought an amazing sound, and then it just feels like a lot of stuff I come across that's like prog metal is just way too like in their lane. But hey, maybe I'm not looking hard enough. I don't know how much is out there. I'm not like getting into the weeds of all the different scenes like I used to. Used to be really into exploring all the different strands of metal and whatnot, but just not so much now. I tell you what, I really am with time going off of more and more. Like I say, going off of, like, I absolutely adored black metal when I was younger, but if I hear a new black metal song that like I haven't heard before, I generally don't really enjoy it that much. It's just all that darkness. It used to be like interesting, mysterious, and somehow therapeutic, but it just isn't anymore. Did you hear the single from Immortal Disfigurement, the old vocalist of Lunar Shore? Just the name alone tells me, oh, it's that, like, how dirty and filthy can we sound? Like, here's this terrible name that we've come up with. You know, what's that band with the crazy drums? It's something, it sounds something like Child Disfigurement, but it's not. Infant Annihilator, is it? And it's just like, like even that band, but again, going back to the deathcore scene, like there was like a handful of bands that were doing that sort of sound before they came along. I mean, it was all like a lot of what you hear today that's like this, you know, new extreme thing in metal. It feels like it just has this line back to deathcore where everyone raced to the bottom. And like the filthiest stuff you could hear, like crossovered with like stuff like slam, death metal and things, and it's the same ideas. They're just somehow like tweaking it all and getting it kind of more popular, I guess. How about Slipknot, says CDR Sparks? I love Slipknot, man. What a great band. Great songs. Yeah, that's another thing. Like being able to write a good song is important. Not just being able to like put together a grisly aesthetic. Burping and pig squeals, says Molly the Spy. You know it, you know it. All that squee-bree-bree. God, there was loads of that back in the day. I absolutely loved it when I first started hearing that stuff. I was like, oh yes, it's so filthy and disgusting. And these days it's like, unless I know those songs and they've got that kind of like, I don't know, nostalgic charm or whatever, it just doesn't do anything anymore. I think maybe listening to a bit of Marvin Gaye helped with that. That's some good music right there. You've got to listen to some soul music. You know? And then you're like, this whole like, how can I make a disgusting sound stuff doesn't compete. Doesn't make sense anymore. Have you ever heard Volbeat? Yep. You know, before we go into the whole like, have you heard this, have you heard that? I've probably heard a lot of them. People are always asking. I listen to a lot of stuff. But one category of music I've never been big into is that kind of like alt rock sort of download festival scene. Volbeat are just like there playing every year. There were Vultures. I don't know, a few of those sorts of bands have never really... Alt-rock has never really done that type of alt-rock anyway. Never done too much for me. Right, this is what we're going to do now. We're going to fill in all of this. This is at times like this when we want to relax and chill. We've got the big old bone grind to do. Make the ribcage complete. How do you feel about old school hip hop? You know, I love it, but like, what is old school now? When I search for like classic hip hop and stuff, I keep getting like the 90s, and I'm like, I thought the classic was sort of like the end of the 80s. You know, and like you search classic hip hop on Spotify and it's playing like Tupac and Biggie, and I'm like, well, that's how it goes, right? I guess this is now the new classic. I would say around 89, so maybe the early 90s. I mean, I think they call it the golden era, right? Is somewhere around there was a term, but these things are quite fluid and change a lot, I've noticed. Like, as newer generations come along, they like take on a different perspective of the past, and the terminology kind of gets shuffled around a bit. For me, like the classic, or let's say the most important era of hip-hop to me is probably like 89 to 95 maybe. Like, it just feels like there's so much like landmark stuff happening there, and it's also, I think, where like hip hop really kind of like sheds its more cornier roots and becomes like way more expressive as well, and yeah, it really like flourishes creative wise in that period of time. The 90s was 30 years ago. Oh, geez, says Rottenbroth. Oh, well, isn't it just, eh? I was thinking of Rakim and BDP. I mean, Rakim and Eric B, absolute legends. Absolute legends. When I first started playing Minecraft, that was when I was discovering Eric B and Rakim. And that was just like, whoa. Like, when you go listen to them, you just realize how huge what he's doing is. And Eric B too, like his beats. Like, those, the two of them just took it to another level, and that was an influence that was felt for like quite some time. Rakim is touring, says Becca. Interesting. I thought he'd given it up. I thought he'd given up the whole thing. That's the last I heard. Is he? I imagine he's not touring with Eric B then, if you just say he's touring. Excuse me. Have I ever played Dungeons and Dragons? I have not. Not played Dungeons and Dragons. I've seen it in Stranger Things, which I believe is tomorrow, the 1st of the month. Oh man, that means I've got a whole bunch of stuff to do in the morning. As well as go to the doctor. Right, glad I noticed that, because I should probably make note. But yes. Stranger Things, the next part comes out tomorrow, right? I just finished watching the Wu-Tang saga for now, so not bad timing. I've also started watching Atlanta on Disney. That's a very interesting show. This new season, you know, it's you kind of know what to expect a bit more now watching it, but dang, if anyone's watching that, and that scene in the second episode in the room with all the people dressed in white, I was just like, oh my god. I did not see that coming. Like, you kind of knew something crazy was coming, but not that. Dang. Carnivorous Dryad says, are you okay? Actually sound down today. Yeah, I've had some things like adding up and weighing on my mind. A video I made got a poor response. Kind of been a bit burdened thinking about that. Then I got this issue I got to go to the doctor for. Pulled a muscle in my back. It's like, it's never one thing, is it? It's all these little things. They always manage to like stack up on you. I try and keep like a positive outlook and whatnot. It can be difficult though. It's like, you know, it's a battle to do that. And streaming for me is always therapeutic. I just go into this space, I can just waffle about hip hop and curry or something and hang out with all Leo, and it helps. So you know, I wanted to stream tonight as kind of just needed it really. Just pulled a muscle in my back at the gym yesterday. I hurt it doing incline bench somehow. Interesting. I was oh, I see what you mean, incline bench press, right? Well, here's the thing, right? All the muscles in your body are connected. So any form of movement pattern tends to use something somewhere, right? Now, when you do a bench press, you're trying to isolate your chest muscles to do that. And poor form can mean, you know, you use your triceps and your arms a little more than you should. And then for something like your back, I would say that's a bit of a weird one because they don't get engaged too much, but they are there to stabilize, right? Like you do tense up the muscles in your back and your legs to stabilize your body when you're on the bench with the bar above you. So it's like, it might seem strange, but maybe not. But one thing I do that I feel like helps with preventing that kind of injury is that I do yoga in the morning, and that's like about warming everything up and stretching everything. But I pulled my back doing a seated row with like a pulley, and I had no sign of it coming, but I think it's more likely maybe the deadlifts that I did earlier in the day stressed the body a bit too much. You know, it's always a game at R, and it happens right as I just had a week of like wanting to go hard because I've got this thing weighing on my mind, and I guess that's kind of like my way of dealing with it, is like having a harder workout. So yeah, maybe I didn't make a great decision there, but you know, I was kind of getting through it like way easier than I thought. I was like, you know, maybe I'm ready to like, up some of these weights here and there, but now I'm like, time to have a rest. Some guys arc their back to bench. Might have pulled it doing that maybe. I couldn't tell you. You'd need to understand the physiology of what muscles are being activated when you do that. I don't do the arching bench back technique. I've tried it and it does feel like it helps a bit, but I kind of prefer just to like settle down on the bench, like, I don't know if intuitively is the right word, but just kind of like in my own way, and it doesn't involve arching the back like that, so I don't do it basically because of that. What am I doing here? Let's get this done right. And I did a lot more bench press than usual this week, just trying to go a bit harder. Like I feel like I made some serious progress over the last week, month. X, when did you start with yoga? I want to start improve flexibility, but I don't know where to start. I started probably 10 years ago, learning to stretch and whatnot, and then, you know, various bouts of using yoga over time has slowly evolved into daily practice. If you want to start, go onto YouTube and search for Yoga for Complete Beginners 20 minutes. And you should get this video with this chap. I mean, it's been so long since I watched it, actually. I can't remember what was distinctive, but he talks to the camera while this woman does all the stretches and whatnot. And they say namaste and stuff. It's just like one of those old school YouTube videos. Like, there's no like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. It's just a classic. There to give you exactly what you want. And that's a great way to just get started with it. Very basic stretches, nothing intense, mostly on your back. Easy stuff. And then if you want to sort of progress from there, I'd recommend yoga with Adrian. I never know. I think she even says it herself, and my brain still does a derp on that one. But anyway, I follow along with her videos from time to time, but I've done so much of it, I kind of like have my own routine, and I know how to change it up a little bit. And if I feel a particular area needs some attention, I know like lots of stretches now, so I tend to kind of like use my intuition a lot more with that stuff these days, just because I've been doing it for so long. Greegypt is here with some cheers and some biddies, saying, I'm glad you still have the energy to stream. We really appreciate what you do, and thank you for entertaining us. Thank you, man. Thank you for gifting those subs, and thank you for the cheers and biddies. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like, streaming's great for me, right? So I'll always have energy for this, it feels like. As it's a great experience. I love spoilers, says Belligerent Paradox. Currently, we're kind of like out of the spoiler territory now. This is all, well, you could argue it's spoilers because it's not in an episode or anything, but this is all, this ain't anything new and fresh over here, is it? This is just the ribcage. The most happening place on the server, some might say. No one says that, just me. Yeah, I think I'm going to just keep putting more of these in first. Kind of prefer doing it that way. Right, and then I'll come all the way over to this spot and put in the black concrete stuff. Mini Manal says, how does one become as wise as you? I mean, I think I'm not going to call myself wise, let's put it like that, but I learned to, I guess, live a bit more intently and thoughtfully about everything you do, and I invest a lot of time into listening to kind of self-help material and people that share their ideas and wisdoms, right? Like, it comes from, I guess, actively wanting to you know, sort of grow and improve as a person. That, you know, you pick up things along the way, and you try your best to remember the good advice, right? And it's like, you know, on some level it's obvious. Yeah, of course you're gonna go through life and learn things and whatnot. But I think, like, once you assess the value of that and you're like, okay, that actually makes a huge difference, and then you start to action it, you know, like, hey, I can actually make it a habit to spend time every day making sure I listen to something that's informative and helpful, then that can go like a really long way, right? That's kind of what I've done. I love listening to my podcasts, self-help books, and education videos and stuff, and, you know, I'm taking it all in, and then here I get to, like, spit it back out in some other kind of form. Which is what all of y'all hear. Hey X, do you relate more to millennials or Gen Z? That's an interesting question. I tend to not like people being put into groups and categories. So, like, to me, it's like there isn't something that, like, millennials or Gen Zs can't be or do that the other can't, right? Like, I don't like how those ideas create borders between people. So I don't think about it that way, really. I don't see it like that. I am, of course, interested in how generations, I don't know how to quite describe this, but, you know, there are things that go on that we can look at through the lens of, like, statistics and habits and things that people are doing to try and understand the world. So I'm interested in hearing about, like, trends that millennials or this generation, that generation might have. It gives you an understanding of, like, what's changing in the world, but not for the purpose of, like, identifying with any of that, I guess. They can't read or write cursive. I can't read or write cursive. I don't even know what cursive is. Let's get some more questions. Wisdoms through errors and F-ups, says Nerf Sound. Yep, learn from your own mistakes for sure. But learn from other people's too, you know. Otherwise, you know, it's better. Well, I'm sure someone can make a clever argument as why it's good to make your own mistakes. But, you know, if you can actually learn a lesson from someone else, say, saves you learning it yourself, right? I mean, that just sounds like an all-round good thing. Yeah, now, here's the problem. I run out of the black concrete right as we get to the end of that ribcage. Monate is here with some cheers and biddies, saying, Hex, I want to apologise for responding poorly to your recent video. I've realised I've been transferring all the fear and anxiety US politics is instilling in me this moderation topic because it's a smaller issue and easier to think about. That wasn't fair to Mojang or you, and I am sorry. Hey, don't even sweat. Don't even worry about it. First of all, appreciate the cheers and the biddies, and you know, it's fine. Like, the way I see it is the nature of the internet, how we communicate on it with our text, and how the news environment, like the US politics you're talking about, tends to create very polarized responses. Oh, chat is reminding me I got a perfect emote for this. It creates very polarizing responses and sort of gets us to think about topics very divisively. I did a poor job of, like, I should have put something in my video that kind of highlights that and talks about how my thoughts are trying to get past that. But, you know, when I read these comments of people who are angry and yada yada, it can, you know, I do take it to heart somewhat. I can't avoid that. I can be sensitive. Sometimes I can be thick-skinned. Sometimes I'm sensitive to it. But, like, I always also try and remind myself that, like, that's the environment, right? Like, it tends to on occasion bring out the worst of us, and maybe on those grounds don't take it too to heart. Which is why I've been trying to listen to people in those videos of mine, like leaving their comments and like really get an understanding of the situation from it, try and understand it better. And I might make a follow-up video to it, but yeah, don't sweat it. I know there's like some really big stuff going on that's stressful in America right now. I barely touched on the topic because I think like this moderation one, it is just like it feels like a hot potato. You pick it up, you'll burn your hands, and then you'll like throw it, and nothing. I don't know. You can't really go into that space without expecting some form of like heated debate, right? But I will tell you, you know, my thoughts and feelings on the whole abortion thing. Again, I'm not one to like have a like really strong radical view on any of this stuff. To me, it's like I can listen to both sides and understand how people have a different perspective on like when life actually starts, and it's a question that we don't have like a definitive answer for. And so to me, it feels like, wouldn't it be better to like try and focus on solutions as opposed to these like hard-lined ways of dealing with things? I like to use technology a lot as like a way to sort of, you know, technology is miraculous. If you go back 150 years and try and explain the internet and computers to someone, right, they're going to think it's magic. What do you mean I can take a video of this thing that's happening in front of me and send it to someone on the other side of the world and the whole world can comment on it? What are you talking about? That's magic. That's ridiculous, they'd say. So in my mind, it's like, what if technology and things in the future, or social policies, what are things that can make the points of the argument on either side mean less through it happening less often, or something along those lines, right? Male contraception is one that's possibly quite powerful if they ever figure it out. Like, if men had a pill they could take, that would change the dynamic, right? But yeah, I just think, like, imagine we develop... So, like, I'm trying to relate it to something that's maybe more believable. Let's go 200 years into the future, and it's just, like, the word abortion just isn't relevant anymore because technology takes care of so many things that it's never a problem people face. And then it's like... And all these things that we argue over and we have these points on, they're now just history. There's things you can go back into the past and look at that that are like really big issues at the time that people talk about and have wild opinions on, that get them angry and stuff. And let's say a relatively recent one might be seatbelts. I think when seatbelts were first introduced, a lot of people were talking about freedom and you know, shouldn't force me to wear a belt. It's my car, my right, this kind of thing. And then it just becomes normal. And society is full of these compromises. It's full of normalities that we accept And I think some of these ideologies that we are prompted into believing about and having a side in, they're a bit more like vapid and not as defining of who we are as we might think, because things change in society and then they sort of become irrelevant. So yeah, like, I'm not saying like we need technology to fix everything. It's just, if you think on a historical perspective about how many issues are of the time and then become phased out as we progress through society and we grow, like, why can't we focus more on working together to like accelerate that path forward? It always comes down to this sort of divisive back and forth about these big ideas, and I don't know. Like, I'm not saying I got an answer or a solution for all of this. It's just the way I think about it, because yeah, I don't know. Like, I've listened to people on both sides of the abortion topic, and it's like, I feel like I can agree with a lot of it. I can see it from their perspective. And it's not the most egregious thing sometimes, but the problem is a lot of it gets funneled through the old bad take, where if someone disagrees with you, you end up understanding their perspective as the worst possible version of it. Adrian Sheck says criminalize. Okay, do you know, actually, let's not go deep into this. Like, jeez. I'll pick a comment. I don't want to go deep onto this one. Like I said, like, it's like picking up a hot potato and everyone gets burned. It just evokes so much strong feelings, and I've sort of not given much attention to the whole thing because of my news diet. I decided, like, I need to cut out some of this news that I'm consuming all the time because it weighs on my mind, and that was one where I'm like, this is just gonna wage on my mind unless, I don't know, keep my distance from it, right? At least potatoes are still legal. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not going to get too much further into it. I think I said what I needed to say there. Jellyman2001, thank you for 17 months. Greatly appreciated. Everstu says, let's talk more about dogs. Have you ever thought about getting a dog? I think one day I'll be a dog owner. I love my sister's dog so much. He's a lovely little guy. Dogs just, like, can't hide their love for you. They've just got this, it's like they see you and they're like, human, 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 oh, human, and then they come and lick your face. And they wag their tail and they let you, you know, you give them a little hug, and so you can say you pet them or pat them, but, you know, like, give them a good old scrub or something. It's like that. It's just, they're just so full of it, and it's beautiful, beautiful thing. Ricky Gervais goes on about it a lot, about how he doesn't own dogs, but, like, he loves them, and, like, when he goes out for a walk, he loves meeting the dogs. Totally understand that now. They're so enthusiastic. Since I've become somewhat, I guess, of a dog walker, and you meet other owners and dogs, yeah, like, they're always just so infused. They're like, oh, look, a human. They come up, they smell you, they want to say hi. It's really, really lovely. My dog pushed a box for half an hour. Simple things, right? Simple things. Lester says, Xisuma, do you support the LGBTQ plus community? Absolutely, I do. You might notice I'm not a flag waver over here, but you know, I support all people and all people's rights, and it's become such a contentious thing. It's so disappointing that people don't get it. That, you know, there are many different types of us, and not all of us are very well represented and understood and whatnot, and that we need to have you know, compassion for one another. We're all people, right? You reminded me of something I put in my moderation video, is that I mentioned safe spaces, right? And I was sort of just using the term of phrase that Microsoft do in their press releases. They want to create safe spaces for their audience. And there was some like pretty like riled up comments about that invoked the LGBTQ community, and I was just like, once again, man, like it's so difficult to find like rational discussion about ideas. Everything gets pushed into these like agendas and extremes, and you know, I don't know how I feel about everywhere being an air quotes safe space, but what is the harm in having places that are, you know, safe from certain types of discussion and whatnot, and other places where they're not? Like, you're not putting it everywhere, you know? It just, again, it's another one of those things in that video where it's like, unless you really like go the full distance to articulate yourself, it just ends up someone inserts their gut reaction against what you're saying into their worldview, and their one was, you know, fueled by bad takes on those kind of ideas, I guess. Do you think it's right to have people under the group LGBTQ+, or should we just get rid of all groups and call everyone people? You said earlier you didn't like grouping people into categories. Yeah, I mean, right now it's like a movement, isn't it? Because this is how society works. We go through like shifts and changes, and you know, the end result will be that one day it isn't something that we talk about because there isn't an issue to talk about, right? Like when people are accepted and for who they are and whatnot, then it won't be something we're talking about. So right now, I think you're seeing like the strides for change and the difference. Again, history really informs if you go back and just like learn about history, and that's like such a vague thing to say, but I don't know like where to start. But because I've always had like a fascination with the past, especially when you relate it to the present. I've just watched tons and tons of documentaries over time, and you just pick up on these themes and these recurring things where, like, I don't know, like progressive presidents of the past in America are like known as being so because they only thought that segregation should go this far. Oh, what a progressive. And then you look at the conversation of the time and it's like, it's the same as today. It's like there's these heated left and rights and they're saying the same sorts of thing, yet if you come to where we are now, it's like anyone who comes out and says that we should have segregation is like horrifying. It's like, that's a horrifying thing. And yet you go back in time and that was once the progressive side of the spectrum. So we keep like, it keeps moving and it keeps changing, and I just feel like this is part of that change, right? This is part of the direction we go in, and at some point in the future you wouldn't bat an eyelid about it, you know? People are very excited about segregation based on personal medical choices, says Mr. Crimson King. And another reason why I just can't get into that topic. It's just so messy. Such a messy one. I do just naturally fall on the side, perhaps, of, let's say, more personal autonomy for making those sorts of decisions, I think. But again, I don't want to get into it. Gosh. Well, everything is a product of its time, and progressive for their time means we are now where we are today. Yeah, that's totally it, basically. Yeah. And so we'll keep going, you know, or see, you never know, like, I don't know, things could take a turn for the worse. Like, don't get too complacent, but so far, so good. You know, got a long way to go, got a lot of problems to figure out, but you look back and it kind of seems like we're getting slowly going in the right direction. Oops. I feel like I just want a bit of night vision here. Maybe leaving that on might help me place some of the blocks, so I can just sort of see what's going on a little bit here and there. Yeah, I'm just going to do that in this spot. Thought I saw a creeper for a second. There's so much green down there. Mafia Kid, thank you for 6 months. I wish bone meal would make crops grow faster around you. Oh, eating it. Now, I've somehow missed a keyword. Have fun watching your streams and YouTube. Keep up the amazing work. Cheers. That'd be a pretty interesting little thing to add, wouldn't it? It'd probably encourage some player AFK contraptions, that's for sure. But thank you for the subscription, my dude. Oh! I did see a creeper. You blew everything. Oh, dang it. Down here too? Some stuff got blown up down here, peeps. Well, that was mean, wasn't it? Oh, I think the baddies are coming. Got some repairing. I need to do just some quick repairing, you know? That's all I need. Also, I think some glow liking got blown up. Help me, I'm twitching. How do you learn to have proper form when exercising? I'm curious where people learn it. Right, this is a tricky one because I've learned online, right? And there are reputable sources and there are not so reputable sources, and it's kind of hard to suss out where the reputable sources are. But if I could point you in a direction of a person that really kind of solidified for me what I was kind of starting to learn a while ago. Now the channel is called it's like a 3-word combo name. What is it? Sports Science something. Dang it, I really want to tell you the name of this channel because this guy is like on the ball. I'm gonna go find it. He uploads every day, so it shouldn't take me more than a minute. Let's get on it. Where's that subscription feed, eh? Shredded. Oh, now I don't even get there yet, and I remember what it is. Shredded Sports Science. I think just the activity of going to open the feed just kind of like made it all click, right? This guy is like the nonsense alarm, okay? He goes around and calls nonsense on fitness influencers who don't know what they're talking about, basically. And he also, on occasion, highlights people that do know what they're talking about. And that's like really quite helpful. Because, you know, form is not really an opinion, as there is a lot of, you know, science, understanding of how the body moves, the mechanics of it, and all that kind of stuff, right? And there are good people with a lot of knowledge, and this guy's, you know, I believe he's a trained physician or something in this region. And, you know, his calling is to kind of like go into the fitness influencer space and call out the nonsense. And it's really helpful. And so through that, I kind of started to understand like where you go to look. Like, for example, a channel like Cali Move is very well done, kind of on point with a lot of their advice and stuff. But yeah, like it's hard to know where to look in the beginning. So this guy kind of calls out the nonsense fitness YouTubers. You know, like if ever you see like a challenge of like, I'm thinking of a particular video he done now. Like KSI did like a fitness challenge, right? Which, you know, he's entitled to do. But this guy's pointing out that they're sort of showing all of this weightlifting stuff, but they actually don't know what they're doing. And if you look at their form, it's not good. They need proper coaching. And he's basically saying, look, you're going to have a whole bunch of young, influential people watching this. And they're going to look at their, you know, their YouTube idols or whatever, and it's very impressionable. And they think, yeah, I want to go to the gym and do that. And they might, you know, there's no context provided that they don't know what they're doing. And that, you know, they're showing them doing these like barbell challenges and they're getting it all wrong. But, you know, the thing is you can lift and get it wrong and not pay the price. Maybe you do if you keep doing it wrong. Maybe you pay it when you're older, but that's the problem. And learning good form is really important for sports science. Anyway, any more questions on that? Greegypt, thank you for gifting a sub to Mantis Maestro. Thank you again for another gifted sub. Let's get that animation on the screen. I should really drink some water, and although my back's a bit busted up, I'm just going to stand for the last part of the stream, which I actually wanted to do earlier. Ooh. But, ooh. I've had a hot water bottle pressed against it the whole stream. Should probably give that a break now. Oh, there we go. I found walking, I didn't want to walk. I do a lot of walking with my time, and I had the opportunity to walk across town today. I didn't take it because of the back, but I actually, when I did do a little bit of walking here and there, it did feel like kind of soothing and helpful, yet despite using that muscle. That worries me, that it's like you're just getting used to the pain or something. So anyway, you know, injured, don't risk it like a biscuit. Gonna take the precautions I need to, right? Gonna rest. Jogging is good, says Mass Shift. Not with this back. Not right now with this back, I don't think. That's the thing. I got a potential run coming up. I've had a couple of playful sprints lately, running around with my nephew, just and as I'm doing it, I'm kind of like, oh, this is like a little test for my knees, I guess. And they've held out. I'm kind of optimistic. I'm going to be super cautious. I don't think I'm going to run for another month, but I don't mind testing myself out a little bit here and there. Might get back into the running sooner than later. Who knows? Fingers crossed, right? What are the numbers for? They're for light levels, right there. I walk all the time. Actually gave up driving, way less stress, says Flare Prime. Yeah, I drove my car just a couple of days ago, and when I drove it, I was like, this is... I don't think I've driven this thing since I had the MOT done, which was like months ago. I have been on my bike a lot and loving it. My electric bike allows me to do shopping, which I, you know, want to do. Well, need to do, right? But like, I don't have to drive back and forth to the shops to get stuff. I can do a couple of trips a week on the electric bike, and that's good for being active and stuff, I guess. Just kind of interesting, because it feels like almost sometimes I don't even need this this car anymore, but you know, you kind of get forced into using it at one point or another. That probably looks quirky if you see it from a particular angle. Oops. What electric bike do you have and currently in the market for one? I forget what it is. I'm not a sort of enthusiast that remembers much, but it was a solid investment. I would say though, you know, like, do the proper research and figure out what exactly it is you're after, because just taking a recommendation, someone might recommend something that's not suitable for you, right? I think my one is probably good for going, like, I could probably use it like a fair bit more than I actually do. Like, it's suited for longer cycles, but I brought it not just to go around town or whatever, but I love cycling. And used to do like long cycles in the countryside, and we'll probably get back to that at some point. So it's kind of built for short trips and for longer ones too, I guess. This is so tricky to do this building without like all of that in place, right? Yeah, I think I'm just going to end up making these bits a bit thicker here and there. Hey, we got a noise in the ear. It's Lays24MC for 7 months. Thank you so much, my dude. Thank you for the subscription. Rightio. Just want to say I love the base idea. Very well done, says Champ Dog. Thank you, thank you. Good to hear it. We'll have a few streams, chilling out, grinding away at these little details. Probably be a good idea to focus on all of that there first. It would give me like that inspiration. Then again, I need the beacon for a while. But yeah, once the whole area is like black all over, it will just start to really, I think, like reveal itself. It'll be like, ah, this is what we're going for. This is what we're going for. So I'm going to close off this little gap here. Yeah, look, there's light coming through. And I think that, my friends, is where I shall wrap things up for today. Thank you ever so much for coming by and hanging out with me. I very much needed it. So appreciate y'all hanging out and putting up with my nonsense for a couple of hours. I'll be back again Saturday if all's good. If you don't see me, you know, I don't know what will be happening, but fingers crossed. Anyway, we'll go do a raid. Big thank you to everyone who subscribed, resubscribed, donated and cheered. Thanks to all the mods, the patrons, and the peeps gifting subs. Be sure to hit that follow button. And hey, we get to go raid Music Man again. We've been listening to his record. Also, please let Music Man know I'll be shooting straight off, as before I go to bed I've got a couple of little jobs here and there to do. So, yeah, I won't be sticking around. But there you go. That's it. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.